What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All You Can Eat Warriors. And I mean, All You Can Eat Warriors. We're back again, baby. We're back again. It's going to be a massive show tonight, guys. Obviously, you guys are all here for Teamless Tuesday. But first of all, before we do all the little formalities and talk about all the little news running around rugby league, we got our boy Joshy Hill. Joshua, how you feeling, brother, after seeing the Teamless Tuesday and your weekend ahead?
It's here. We're here. We are back. Oh my gosh. Like last week's Teamless Tuesday when, 4 irrelevant teams got named, it was like, all right, we're kind of back. We're kind of back. But now this week we are so back. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much to all our chat jumping in today as well, guys. Appreciate all you guys. Carl, good to see you back here, my bro. Jacko, what's going on? JD Hecker, what's up, baby? Everyone else in the chat going absolutely mental right now. Yeah, Dallin Watani's a Lesniak, 100%. We'll get to that very shortly. T McKee, appreciate you guys all coming through. But yeah, guys, obviously massive show coming up. We've got to talk about all that out of the way. But before we get to all that, we may as well touch on the big weekend that was, brother. Viva Las Vegas. Did it scratch the itch for you, bro? The kickoff to the NRL season, how'd you feel? How'd the teams go? Did you see anything you liked, see anything you didn't like? What was your thoughts of the Vegas round, brother?
Yeah, I mean, if you followed me on Twitter, you'd know my thoughts about the second game. I think the refs carrying the Bulldogs through was quite interesting. It's fine. I thought we were only playing with 19 players this year, but the refs seemed to make it another one, and the bunker backing them up as well. But it did scratch the itch. I think like on Sunday or coming home kind of during the day, I was pretty excited. Not as excited as last year, obviously, and not as excited as this Friday, but it was just good to see real rugby league back on the screens. Teams that had made the trip over to Las Vegas, and round one has officially started. The NRL has officially started. I was seeing real Supercoach points, real NRL fantasy points. Everything was happening. It was good. I enjoyed it.
So you're saying all of rugby league we watched prior to that wasn't real rugby league to you? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think because we lost both the trial games, that it didn't count. So, only the people that lose the trial games go on to win in the regular season. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us, go 24-0 this year, then sweep our way through the final series, especially with the side we've named. I mean, we're looking unstoppable. But no, it is real rugby league now. That's kind of like, the dress rehearsal for some fake bogus points. I mean, like an extra point for scoring 5 tries, get out of here, it's 12 points for a win, excuse me? Like...
But honestly, man, I think for all Warriors fans out there, we just couldn't wait to get to this point, right? Like, we couldn't wait to get to this point where we get to see our boys run out there and play some football. But quickly, Newcastle Knights getting over the top of the Cowboys 28-18. And then the Doggies just getting over the Dragons, as you touched on before. Guys, if you want to get Brody's thoughts about that, make sure you check it out tomorrow night. A real Doggies fan on my channel, Ash Thomas on YouTube. Guys, go over and check it out. We'll definitely be discussing both those games in full depth. But was there anything you saw out of all those sides that played over the weekend that worried you a little bit coming into the season? Or, like, for me, honestly, like, when I looked at, performances, I thought the Cowboys looking very similar to what the Cowboys have looked, probably in the last couple of years. The Dogs are coming in. They're a systematic team. They're going to look very similar to what they always have. They're going to grind out footy games. They're hard to beat. The Dragons probably impressed me a little bit to see them get it up with it, but more so I'm like thinking, is it the atmosphere? Is it them going to Vegas and turning up for their coach after their poor trial form? And Newcastle, for me, just look like Newcastle. Like, I understand, great performance. They beat the Cowboys and that, but I still look at them now as like, well, KP goes down. Like, it still revolves around KP. And whether that's right or wrong, it is what it is. But I still just look at that. So when Fletcher Sharp went down too, I'm like, man, they're just, they're one more injury away where I feel like the Knights are back to where I kind of feel like they are. But that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I actually can't believe, just touching on the Knights, that the trainer let Fletcher Sharp get back into the line just to let through a try. I thought that
That
was,
was wild.
yeah, I was a bit confused there, but no, you're right. Like, I don't think I looked at these games and went, "Oh no, we've got a problem on our hands."
Yeah.
I think even with the Bulldogs, I don't think they looked as good as they should.
Mm,
Like, yes, they did win, and that's the all important. You get 2 points, you come home. Much easier flight coming home when you win two than coming home and without any points.
yeah.
But I mean, like, I just don't know about two genuine number sixes playing in the 6 and 7 spot for the Bulldogs. I don't get it. I love Lachlan Galvin and Preston working together on that right edge. I think that's dangerous. I think Preston is one that I'll be watching out for this year, just to see how he kicks on. But it just didn't really seem scary, you know.
Yeah, I feel like it's the same story as what we saw from last year. Like all the questions that a lot of teams, running into last year was, teams were trying to play with halfbacks, trying to mix two halfbacks and to make them into, a 7-6 and, seeing a 2 6s run at sevens. Like I feel like the teams have got to get down to it where they just got to rip the band-aid and say, hey, we got to run a halfback and we're going to run a 6. Like whatever, how that looks, just make that happen that way. I think we've got to get to that in some time in the future. But enough with the other teams, brother. Let's go over to the news that happened with our teams. There's a little bit of blowback actually going on with your mic right now, my bro. I'm not too sure what's going on. I'm not sure.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't know what's happening. There you go. It sounds all right at the moment, I think.
Oh well.
Okay.
We'll
I
see.
think we're all right. We'll be all right.
Hey, we'll be fine.
But major news for the New Zealand Warriors, bro, before we get through our team list and our predictions for the weekend. 2-year deal, contract extension for Taine Tuaupiki, brother, till 2028. That's massive, massive news for the Warriors and massive news for Taine Tuaupiki and his stocks and how we feel about Taine Tuaupiki at New Zealand Warriors. Your thoughts on this news, bro? Honestly, the amount of Warriors fans that were worried that he was going to move on to another side, get poached by someone else that's seen him for what he is. He seems to love it in New Zealand now, and he seems to love his position in the team. It probably shows that we are looking at him as our next fullback coming through the ranks. How you feeling about the move for you, bro, and the contract extension for Taine Tuaupiki?
I really love it. I think with Taine, first of all, he's a dog. Like
He's a dog.
he's a dog. He's such a good player. Like you said, he's back home, which I think is huge. Like he's only a couple of hours away from home in Taharoa. And he's back on his whenua, which is really, really important, back on his land. And he's like, he gets to go home to his farm to do these things, and he seems really happy here. He seems content. He seems like everything is going the way it needs to be. And he, in the interview this week, he said, "I really, really want the number 1 jersey for the Warriors." And that's not something we normally get with players. It's like, oh yeah, well, I'm here. I'll try.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened, bro. Formalities, guys. I'm so sorry, guys. We don't know what's happening right now. Maybe was it try to log out and log back? Oh, there you go. You're back. You're back. Oh my god.
Oh my god. I don't know what's going on. I might when I finish my point, I might jump out and jump back in. Don't know what's going on. But yeah, Taine is he's gonna win that number 1 position. I think in the end, like he needs to get a couple more things in his game before he can win that number 1 from Chance. But I'm excited for the next 2 years with him. I think he's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, 100%, bro. 100%. I'm really excited, bro. Like, as I said, I was really worried that, with all the contract talks going around, everyone was saying it, like, worried that maybe he was going to move on to another club. But then when I started to think about it a lot more, like, the only time that for me, was going to look at going somewhere else is probably Perth or, clubs that aren't established. Because when you look in the league, from 1 to 17, every club's got a really good fullback and everyone's got a backup really good fullback. Like even the teams that you start to look down at, like people looking at, the Canberra Raiders have got KO Weeks, unreal, and then they've got Dane Laurie, they just signed from the Panthers. Then they've also got Chevy Stewart. You look at the Sharkies, they got Will Kennedy, they don't want him. They got Liam Eisen. The Dogs, without Connor Tracy, they can go with, Stephen Crichton can fall at the back, or they've just got Cade Dyke. So for me, it was just like, if he's happy developing under us, which we see now, Tanner Boyd as well. Obviously, our culture is going really, really well to keep these boys around and wanting to develop under our club, under our banner. But I just also was just like, I don't know where else he would be going anyway in general, like to where getting a starting spot. And I think this is probably his best opportunity. Apparently him and Chance are very, very close. So that's a really good sign that Chance has taken him under his wing. And he's going to be obviously the future, the Warriors coming to the future. But a great signing for me, 2 years extension. There's a lot that can happen from that. I feel like, you've basically Chance has probably got this year for me to run on that fullback jersey, see how he goes, and may even be towards the end. Who knows when Webby could make that big change and take a step to the future. Because Chance isn't too old either, but when we're looking at the attacking ability that Taine has, and if he continue to develop over time, I feel like he's definitely a guy that can continue to make us step forward towards a premiership case later on in the future for sure.
Yeah, I think he's definitely someone that if we can kind of get the system properly through him, and give him a full preseason, knowing that he's going to be the fullback, I think like we'll see quite a lot of improvement in our attack. And I mean that was kind of, I guess, the plan at the start of last preseason, the preseason that we've just had, was like there were whispers coming out that he was, the number one choice fullback, and
Yep.
so it was unfortunate that he ended up hurting himself. But I mean, he, like, obviously the club sees huge things out of him, and he sees huge things out of the club, and I like that now the club is in a good space where players want to choose us. They want to stay here. They may take some unders to stay. They may, look to fight for a position here as opposed to, oh, this place like the Perth Bears has an open spot at fullback. Like Nick Meaney has signed there, but Meaney can play centre. Like Taine could have gone there and gone, hey, I'll be your fullback. Instead, he's chosen, hey, I'm going to fight for this spot here because
Yep.
I want to win premierships and I believe in the Warriors. And I think that's really, really important. And that's something that we haven't had before. And it's, even like it's just starting to grow, and having Webby there being that guy has been really, really important for that.
And everyone talks about our depths in certain areas and stuff like that. Taine can help, and he has played wing now. Like we've seen Taine play wing. I don't prefer Taine on the wing either way. I don't like that. I think he's a out and out fullback, but he has the ability to do so. Looking at some of the other kids that we got coming through the grade, like Jeremiah Lamana is someone that has got a lot of hype behind him, and I know the club puts him with real high esteem. There's a lot of chat around him going into the season as well, of positions he could be playing, whether he can make it into the cup side or he can make it into the flag side. Brendan Norris has had his little trials out at Logan and that, where he was playing a little bit of fullback. Joseph Ratcliffe's killing it in SG Ball at the moment. So there's a lot of great young depth underneath him as well with Taine. So the club's in a really good wave with fullback. I believe within the next coming years, there's always a step ahead. There's always someone behind him that's pushing Taine, and there's someone behind Chance right now that's pushing Chance to obviously hit another level, as big of a level that Chance can hit at this point of his career. Because Chance is so good at what he gives us, and I love Chance to death for what he gives us. I think he's really underrated as a player, but we all do believe that there's going to come a time where Chance is going to have to step aside and Taine's going to have to take the mantle, and that's where Taine comes in. He's going to have to get chased by Jeremiah Lamana, and there's going to be Warriors fans to be like, maybe Jeremiah can be the guy, and that's what pushes Taine into the upper echelon of player, just him working harder and harder for that. So I'm really, really excited to see how it comes from it. But 2 more years for Taine Tuaupiki, absolutely love that for the Warriors. But without further ado, bro, we might as well get into it, because I know everyone's just be like, hey Ash, settle down with all this sort of stuff, bro. We just want to see the main event. We want to see everything that's going to happen this weekend, what we're all excited for. It's round number 1, Bella. It's round number 1. Ooh. How excited are we? Here we go, my bro. So the New Zealand Warriors obviously taking on the Sydney Roosters. I almost called them the South Sydney Roosters. Roosters fans would absolutely slate me if I said that. That's absolutely crazy. But Here's the teams and how they line up for this weekend, brother. So Chance Nickel Klokstag in the fullback jersey. In the wings, we got Dalla Martinez-Lesniak and Roger Chuvasa-Shek. In the centers, Ali Leotoa and Adam Pompey. In the halves, we got Tanner Boyd and Chanel Harris-Tavita. Your boy, Chanel Harris-Tavita, is back from his calf injury, baby. That's really good to see. We'll definitely chat about him very shortly. James Fisher-Harris, Jackson Ford to start up front. No Mitch Barnett just yet. There's going to be a couple of weeks till he comes back. We'll get to the injury report a little bit later. Wade Egan in that number 9 jersey. On the edges, Kurt Capewell, and the rumors were true. Jacob Laban is starting for the Warriors this week against the Roosters. So keep an eye out, though. We haven't seen Ratani Akura just yet, so we'll just wait and see if there's any Ratani Akura later on down this list. Aaron Clark in that 13 jersey, finishing off with our 6-man bench. Sam Healy, Dimitri Vaimonga, Leka Alasima, Tanner Stowers-Smith, who had an incredible trial series, Taine Tuaupiki, Morgan Gannon, and in our reserves that more than likely will fall back into New South Wales Cup, we got Alofiana Khan-Pereira, we got Luke Hanson, and Eddie Iremia Toiava, obviously coached by our boy Webby there. So, obviously, notable omissions. No Mitch Barnett, as I said before. Just checking the injury report list here too, brother. This might come off the screen a little bit. No, that's good enough there. Mitch Barnett will be back early rounds from the rumors I've heard, probably round 2 or 3. Ratani Akura is not on this list right now. So it looks like that maybe he has overcome his calf injury, but maybe they're just taking him an extra week just to make sure that is okay. So that's obviously big for Supercoach fans out there to see Jacob Laban getting the starting role, but maybe there's another week to watch to see whatever plays out for here. But we may as well start off, brother.
Captain him.
The start $299K, bro. He does it. It's cheap as chips, and I found a way to get him in my side as quickly as possible. But we may as well start with the backline. We'll get to Chanel soon, but just hold your horses. Hold your horses.
All right, I'm calm.
You calm? All right, beautiful. That's good to see. Now, fullback jersey. Chance Klosag wins out the fullback jersey to start off the year. We didn't think that was going to go any other way, really. Did you think there was going to be any way that Taine probably nicks that from Chance, or do you thought more times than not Chance was going to steal that jersey to start the season?
Yeah, I think like we talked about, when Taine got injured, I think it was like early December. It was kind of like a foregone conclusion that Chance would take the starting fullback role. Just getting like an entire preseason under his belt was really important. And Taine was working back from injury. I would have, if you asked me in September, I would have preferred to see Taine Tuaupiki in the fullback jersey. I think I sent some messages to Ash that I regret on the night we lost to the Panthers, but it is what it is. Talking about Chance, but I love Chance. I think he's great, and he definitely this year has. There's been a couple of parts of his game that I've been really impressed with.
Yep.
And even in the Māori All-Stars game, seeing that short ball he laid off for Jacob Laban got me all hot and bothered. So, so I'm excited to see him and if he has been able to add that ball playing to his game, and obviously that right side sweep is going to be really important. And I think that's Daniel Tupou and I want to say Billy Smith on that side, on the left side. So see if Billy Smith can hold up with Ali Leotoa. It's like the hospital ward in there at right centre, or on our right side with Ali, and then across from him Billy Smith. They might see each other in the in Auckland Hospital after this game, but that'll be all right.
Touch wood, that doesn't happen. But yeah, I get what you mean. Both those boys, the injury record is not that great with both those boys. But yeah, with Chance, I just think you just know what you're going to get from Chance, and that's not a bad thing either. Like, you're going to get 250 meters per game, 300 if he's really going to push the boat out. Getting our sets rolling. He builds our ruck momentum really, really well, I believe, probably better than any of our other fullbacks that we have. His work comes from all of the little nitty-gritty stuff that he does out in that football field, and it's something that you don't notice, but he's still got the added ability to play that 3-on-2 ball, that 2-on-1 ball out the back of shape on that right-hand side. We definitely want to see it more consistently, but he doesn't enough to be, really serviceable at fullback, especially when he brings all those other facets to his game. Defensively, does a great job out there. So I'm really excited to see how Chance goes in the season. Continue to be pushed by Taine Tuaupiki, we just spoke about. So I'm really excited how that goes. The other big question is obviously coming into this year, Alofiana Khan-Pereira coming over to the Warriors, whether he was going to get a starting spot. Not just yet. No, I kind of do. I approve of this a little bit. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck starting off. Two great wingers. Like, people have got to understand, like, Roger's an incredible winger. I believe Roger should have been around about for Dally M Winger of the Year towards the end of last year. I thought he was incredible. Dallin had a down year for everyone. I think we all agree. But we know the level of what Dal can get to. I think injuries definitely hampered him last year, and the inside sense of that got changed, left year in, year out, week in, week out. Did not help him at all, especially defensively, and we all can argue that to the hills come home. But I still think that just the mindset of Webby of, like, Alofiana's coming over from a different club. You got to work for that jersey. Like, you got guys in there. Dallin is like an international type of player. He's represented the Maldives All-Stars, played incredible. I thought in the trial he played really, really well as well. So I think that it's just got to take time for Alofiana Khan-Pereira to push for that jersey, and I believe he'll get it at some point as well. But it's also pushing Dallin into a new stratosphere, apparently. He's training the house down right now, so let's hope that both those guys continue to fight on. But your thoughts on the winger combination there?
Yeah, I think they both got, other than Roger the last few weeks, they both got a really good preseason in.
Yep.
And I think that's the most important part, right? Is like trusting the guys that have been in your system, trusting the ones that know what is expected of them from day dot on first day of preseason. Whereas, Khan-Pereira coming in, new club, building relationships, building that foundation. I wouldn't be surprised to see Loffy move his way into the squad throughout
Agreed.
the season.
Yep.
He is going to be at the point where he is too good to ignore.
Yeah.
And that is the exciting part, is that Dallin and Roger, again, like you said with Chance, will be like fighting as much as they can to play as well as they can. Because if they don't, there's a Ferrari behind them chasing them down, like it's just a matter of time before we go, man, Loffy is way too good for New South Wales Cup. Loffy is way too good to leave out of the side. And so those conversations will start up. And I think at the moment, like, there's a lot of discourse online of holding against Dallin what happened last year. And I think it's important to note that Dallin missed the first 12 weeks of the season.
Yep.
After getting injured
I think.
he got injured in the trial against the Sharks, scoring in the corner, or pretty much scoring in the corner. So like he got injured doing what we expected of him, and then he came back into a side. Look, what, like you said, I think he had Luke Metcalf for 4 weeks, and then Lukey Met was gone. He had an ever changing right second rower. Rocco was in, then Ali was in, then Kurt was in, then Lecker was in. Like, he didn't have someone inside him that was always the exact same player. Pause.
Agreed.
And so now we'll see, Jakey Laban on that right side, Tanner Boyd for the first 7-8 weeks. Ali hopefully stays fit and stays healthy and stays a gun, because he was amazing during the preseason, and we'll get to him in a moment. And then Dallin outside him will be able to talk and communicate and build those relationships. And so we'll see Dallin fight for his spot. I think Roger is one of those ones where you just put him out there and go, "You're good, Rog.
You're in. Yep.
Let's go."
Yep. 100%. Yeah, it's definitely just all on. I feel like it is, I don't say it's like unfair to think this, but I think it's like Dallin versus Loffy on that position, and Rogers, basically, we're just going to fill wherever Rogers going to sit. So I'm excited to see the battle. Like, I enjoyed what I saw out of Loffy in the All-Star game. I thought Indigenous All-Stars, especially towards the end, where he wasn't getting the ball on his wing. Nico just wasn't really playing at that side or with shape or anything like that. So, a lot of it came off the hard runs. So that's what I wanted to see off of Loffy, is just out of the back and in behind the rock, those real nice darting runs out of the back end. And he got to that, and he showed off a lot of good ability there, a couple of nice tackles in that game as well. So we just want to continue to see that in Cup and continue to see him in our system. And then obviously, he can be pushing for those roles as well. But anything more you want to touch on before we get to that?
Just on Loffy, like Webby would have sent him to that to the All Stars game,
Hmm.
going, I don't care if you score 2 tries running away. We
Yeah,
know you can do that. What I
yeah,
want to see from you is hard runs out of the back. I want to see, exactly like show me that you want it. Show me that you want to work in our system and not just be oh yeah, I'll just trot it up and get there, I'm in, it's all good. Like Webby would have sent him with the explicit instructions: do better than Dallin.
yeah.
That
And
would
like,
that,
and to be honest, bro, like, people don't understand how much like our wingers have got to work out of the back end, how vital that is to our system right now. Like, our systems predicate that our middle forwards are more a defensive unit, very similar to what the Panthers do, very similar to what the Dogs do. Their outside backs are more so to get him into good field position, and then also finish on top of that. But that's what puts Dallin over the top of Lofi at the moment. Dallin averages more meters out of the back end consistently over his career. I think over about close to about 40 meters over than what Lofi can produce out of the back end. Dallin's going to give that to you. Roger's definitely going to give that to you. We're one of the best teams at getting out of the back end, getting into field position. If Lofi can add that piece to his puzzle and then add in and continue to be the Ferrari that he actually is, that's when we're going to get the best of Lofi. And that's when Lofi's going to look at big, state of origin jerseys, stuff like that, is when he can fill those little parts of his game out. Then we've got a really scary prospect. And that's what makes the signing such a good signing for the Warriors. If we can get the best out of Lofi and he can get under Dal and be like, how do you get around to doing this, this, and this? I think we've got a star in our hands for sure. So it's not a big deficit at Lofi just yet. It's just going to take time. He's got to work hard for it. And it's not like he didn't have to work hard for the Titans. People do forget. He got dropped back to Cup for the Titans. It wasn't a walk-up start there anymore. You come to a new club, a lot of people are just like, he's straight in. It wasn't like that for the Titans. And I'm telling you what, we're a lot better in position than what the Titans were in. So it's going to be a different sort of story there. And I love that the Webby's gone with that. So I can't wait to see how that plays out. But moving over to the guys that are going to be inside of them, my brother, we'll talk with the man, Adam Pompey, first of all, Mr. the Iron Man. He's in there week in, week out at the moment. He's locked down that role. I felt like we started the conversation last year, and it was like, who's just going to be the centers in general? Is it going to be Rocco, Ali? Is it going to be Ali and Pompey? Is it going to be Rocco and Pompey? Is it, if Pompey was in the discussion of the merry-go-round. Now I feel like it's just a lot more comfortable to go, all right, so Pompey's got that left edge locked down. Who's going to be the right center? Is it going to be Berry? Is it going to be Ali Leotar? And, that's the big plus of what Pompey's brought to his game. He's gotten even more consistent what he ever did before, and he plays week in, week out. He's such a sturdy center in this league. I don't ever think he's going to be the best center in this league, but he does a great job week in, week out.
Yeah, I think, like you said, last year was definitely our best centre pairing and then it would be a big discussion. And
Yep.
I think at the start of the season, a lot of people were saying, well, Adam, you did great for us for 2 years. Thank you. But,
Yep.
it's time for Rocco and Ali take over and do what they do best. And then you see Adam named in round one and you're like, okay, this is fine. Everything's okay. And then, there's an injury to Rocco, there's an injury to Ali, and you're like, Adam, we need you. We need you.
Yep.
And then towards the end of the season, it becomes, all right, so the left side is sorted. What are we going to do about the right side? How are we going to fix this? And Adam, being as dependable as he is, has transformed like that edge. Like, we don't have to worry. And even like I just said before, Roger, we don't have to worry about you. And it's because they have such a good combo, even with Chanel inside, like inside them at the 3-man. Like,
Yep.
I've said this a couple of times already this year, but that was the best defensive left edge of the entire comp.
Yep.
And so to know that the left side is, left side strong side, left side defensively strong, and on attack didn't even look like, you
It was
didn't
our
really
best
go,
attacking
oh,
side, bro. It was our
yeah.
best attacking side last year.
Well, there's the thing, and you didn't go, oh, okay, well, I get like, okay, we have to pass the ball to Adam, like, oh, all right, well, we'll try and skip past Adam, like, it wasn't that. Adam was running lines, he was running hard, he was scoring tries, he was in the positions he needed to be. I recall the Knights game down in Christchurch where he scored a double, and he was on the wing, granted, that night, but he still played his part, and that's what Adam does every single week, and he rises to what he needs to rise to. And I think with Roger outside him, knowing that how good Roger is, Adam is just like another foot tall after that. Like he had Marcelo the year before, and then now with Roger, it's just like a whole different, whole different can of beans, and it's something that, you know, he is growing and growing and growing, and they are growing as a partnership. So that left side for me can stay there for 24 rounds,
Yep.
however many games we play, and then all the way through to the grand final as well.
We pray, we pray. Talking about beans before, bro. Let's open up a can of beans right now. Ali Leotar on the opposite side. Some people saw the trial for him as a downgrade. Some people saw the trial with him as like okay. I've heard a lot of discussions on like how he was moving out there, stuff like that. Obviously scoring in both the trials, so I thought that was a big positive. But I did feel like defensively it left a little bit to be desired. But I put that down to mainly him coming back off this ankle injury that's been hampering him for the majority of last season as well. We all know the ability of Ali. Like Ali has the ability to be, an NRL strike center, not just a genuine
Mm.
good center, but a strike center, a guy that we can give the ball early and just let him go, and he's got the ability to break a game open. I feel like we've seen that a couple of times already, and especially if you watch his highlights over his career, you have seen that before. Just injuries have slowed him down just a tad at the moment. How confident that you believe that Ali will get back to that sort of form of Ali, and we'll see him week in week out lock down that right edge? Because obviously when Berry comes back, and if he's still having these performances that maybe missing 5 tackles here and there, we know what Rocco can do on that center position, even though with the injuries. Like, how are you feeling with Ali? What does he need to do? How are you feeling with him going into the season? Has he locked that down for you for the long term, or what are you feeling?
Um, it's hard because, like you said, he's not Rocco on defense.
No.
And to be fair, him and Rocco are such different center pairings, and it's why I think they would work really well as a center pairing.
Yep.
Both of them on the field opposite sides, because one is a strike center, like you said, and the other is defensive and runs a hard line and opens up space on the outside
Yep.
from his gravity because of how hard he runs. I would have loved to see a battle out of those two, like we've talked about with the wingers and with the fullback. It's battles. It's someone behind them going, "Hey, look, I'm knocking the door down. You better perform well." Whereas
Yep.
in the centers, we don't have that at the moment
No.
because Rocco's hurt, and then the next best, or the next option you're kind of looking at. We were talking just before stream is kind of like, do you move Chance there and Taine to fullback,
Yep.
or is that Kurt or Liquor? I don't think it's liquor, but just really quietly slash loudly. But for Ali, I think it's really important. Like, we know he knows, everybody knows what he can do in attack.
Yep.
There's no worries about his attack at all.
Yep.
He's got silky hands. He's got a fantastic line running ability. He can monster people. And he's again another one of those players that's just in the right position on attack all the time. It's just more so on the defensive side. We just need to see him shore up. So at this stage, if Rocco and Ali were both healthy,
Mhm.
I would say I'm not confident that Ali is the best option there.
Yep.
However, Ali is obviously the best option there. And when Rocco comes back mid-season, whenever that is, pray for Rocco, that Ali has used what I'm hoping for is that Ali has used the first however many rounds to show that Rocco will not get back into this team,
Yeah.
and that Ali has defensively improved. He is great with sliding. He's talking to Tanner Boyd inside him. He's making the decision to jam in early, and he's getting that right.
Helping Dal. Yep.
Yeah, not leaving Dell on an island, and
Yep.
then for people to then crucify Dell. Um, but like that's the kind of decision making. That's the kind of things we need to see out of Ali, is those things that win you games. And um, he for now, like, we talk about him as a strike center, but we
Hmm.
need him to be a solid center.
Yep.
It's okay that he has the strike. It's great that he has the strike, but we need to wheel it back and go, let's get everything right, and
Yep.
then do that.
And he's got the ability to do so. As I said, like I put a lot of what happened in the trials, like defensively. And I think the more trial that was like glowingly for that was the Dolphins trial. And
Mm.
we've all made it known to, like, the guy he was going up against in that trial is one of the best, if not the best center in the competition right now, Herbie Farnworth, that breaks tackles for fun. Honestly, he looks like he's
Mm.
playing with children out there majority of the time. But that's a player that we want to get out of Ali, right? Like, Ali's got that tackle breaking ability. He's got that really amazing running style. He's not Herbie Farnworth. He doesn't move like Herbie in any sort of way. But the attributes of, tackle breaker, big outside, a big winger, that's a big center that's able to create space, and he's got all that ability. When we're about 5'10" in, on the attack, if we're giving that shape and we're giving Ali 5 meters out of the line, more times than not, I feel like Ali's crashing over. It's just all the other little things that obviously is the polish at the end of that, and I think that just comes from just him getting fit, after that ankle injury. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out. All right. So I know you've been holding those horses. Those horses have been held. They've been held pretty strong. I feel it. Hey, look, he's heating up already. Look at you. Your boy, the man, the myth, the legend, Chanel Harris-Tavita, brother. He comes back from a calf injury. Luke Hanson is still playing off the bench, but right now he's in a 6-man bench just in case anything happens. So guys, touch wood. Hopefully nothing happens. But Chanel, kind of the forgotten man a little bit in the offseason, I think. There was a lot of talk around the Haas pairing again coming into this year. And I feel like Chanel was probably a guy that a lot of people were like, oh, maybe we could move on from Chanel. But, talking about the year that he had last year, he led us in try assists last year, incredibly. I think he had 20 try assists, I think by Fox League stats, which was a top 10 at least try assists of the comp. Had more than, I think, Nathan Cleary, had more than, Jerome Hughes, had more than Adam Reynolds, had more than a lot of other big halves that a lot of people talk about, week in, week out. But we all know what's the best part of Chanel's game, and that's being rock solid in the defensive end. Your thoughts about your man, bro, locking down that spot? I feel like at the moment he's just been given a jersey. And we know what he's going to bring. Again, he's very similar to a lot of the other guys on that left-hand side. We are so confident on knowing what Chanel's going to bring to a game, and that's just consistency, and that's just someone turning up for the jersey week in, week out for me. But your thoughts on Chanel?
Yeah, I think you'll find actually that Webby trusts him so much that he's put Luke Hanson in the 22 jersey.
Has he missed it just? He has too. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so I mean, hey, look, I know this about Chanel. Surely you should know. I'll forgive you for this time, but like you said, Chanel is fantastic defensively. That's one thing that we do not have to worry about at all.
No.
Chanel is someone that I could put anywhere on the field and feel confident that he would do a job defensively. That's why Samoa put him at 9. That's why they put him in the middle of the field, because they know that, yes, he gives good service out of dummy half and he can do that. However, his defense in the middle is not going to be a target. People are going to run away from him because of the shots he can put on. And, he does his job. I think you'll also find a couple of his try assists have been taken away because he ended up catching his own kick and scoring somehow. He just does these things and you go, how did you do that? How did you climb above and catch that ball? Like the Roosters game round 2 last year at home, puts up a kick and you're like, oh, that's a bit short for the wingers. Like it's not going to quite make it out there. And then he's sprinting through, taking the catch and scoring. And you're going, where did this come from? What's this? And I think Chanel is just someone that we can lock down. I think he's definitely our number 2 half at the moment. I think Luke's number 1. He's number 2. I just, he's so solid. He's so dependable, and he's someone that we can look to get us just something random to get us going. And inside the 20, where we've struggled the last couple of years especially, that's where I think he shines on attack. I don't think he shines too much with a long kicking game. Like he's got one, not as good as Tanner. And so we'll see, probably it would be like an 80-20 split on the kicks. But he is someone that can get there, can make a difference in the 20. And again, back to the Knights game, must have been Anzac Day last year. Him being there just to take a tap back on the kick and pass it straight out. Like he knows his role. He knows what he needs to do. He knows what needs to get done. And I think that's really important, because when we lost Luke last year, and Tanner came back in. Oh, Tanner came in. It was okay. Well, we've still got Chanel there, and Chanel can kind of guide us until Tanner's ready. And I think
Yep.
we may have won our first game, I think, and Chanel was quite good in that one. It was quite important in that one, and I think that's again like Tanner will lean on him.
Mm.
In inside the 20, Tanner will obviously be guiding the team around, and it's his team for the first 7 weeks, and he knows that.
Yep.
But then with Tanner, he's gonna want to build that combo with Chanel so good that it gets to the point when Luke Metcalf's coming back, and Tanner's like, "Well, hang on, we're actually playing fantastically here.
Hmm.
We're playing to the point where there's no blemishes in our partnership, and maybe try and keep Luke out. I don't think it'll work, but it depends how well Tanner plays. Like that's what we won't see." Or what actually what I hope to see is that Tanner kills it enough that there's a conversation around whether or not Luke should come back in. But his partnership with Chanel will be the driving force of that.
Yep.
And Chanel isn't someone who you look at and go, "Oh man, he's incredibly flashy. He creates so much
Mm.
space. He, like Te Maire Martin, can just somehow create numbers on the outside." Like that's not Chanel, but Chanel gets the work done. He gets the job done, and he does
Yep.
the little things that no one sees, and that's why there's so much discourse around him.
Yep.
Is because no one sees the things that he does.
Yeah, well, that's 100% right. And like I'm a strong believer that full cards, all the cards on deck, right? You know, Luke comes back into the side in that 7 jersey, and not say Tanner Boyd's got this like this ability about him as well, but I kind of am saying a little bit. I think that there was such a good balance when we had a full deck of cards of like Chanel, Chance, we know what they're going to bring, but then you got Luke, that's a game breaker. You know, Luke can
Mm,
pull something out of nothing and break the game open with his speed and, his ability with the ball playing and stuff like that, so we can have Chanel there in that 6 jersey, and he can lock a side down. We don't have to worry about two halves that are just playing fuck it footy, that are turning the ball over on the opposite ends and they can't
mm,
defend properly. We haven't got that worry. But that's when the discussions do happen. When we got a Tanner Boyd in that jersey, is like, is this like, does it look as good as what it probably could have? Probably not. There probably is
mm,
more of an ability of like when Chanel gets in this jersey, is probably to run more now and just be like, hey, I'm just going to be the run for it. Let Tanner be the guy that's just going to be dependable around and getting the boys around the park, and just do my job defensively and run the ball and make sure the boys outside of me get the job done. But when we get full cards on deck, I believe in the spine that we got there. That's good
yeah.
enough to get us where we need to get to. And they got the attacking upside with the Luke Metcalf and a Wade Egan to combine to help out with the, Chanel's able to pull something out of nothing, but, consistently what he brings is just consistency, great defense, and he's dependable week in, week out. You just know that from Chanel. So I think that's his biggest benefit. It's very similar to Chance. We know what Chance is going to bring week in, week out. We know what Chanel's going to bring in week in, week out. And I think that we got to fall in love with those sort of things instead of wanting the brand new toy, the game breaking new toy, because we do have that waiting when he comes back into that jersey. It will come back very, very shortly. But may as well talk about
I
it quickly.
mean, Chanel's pretty easy to fall in love with. Have you seen that bloke?
All
What a rig.
right. Well, hey, calm down. You're getting a little bit red of the cheeks, fella. You're getting a little bit.
Sorry,
Yeah, there you
mate.
go.
I'm just gonna take some water.
Oh, you're a beast, bro. You're a beast. But Tanner Boyd, bro, getting down that 7 jersey, as you said before, perfectly summed up. Like, he's got the first 7 or so weeks to lock down that 7 jersey. He knows that no one's going to take that off him currently right now. Jet's probably still a little bit of ways away to get to, debut jersey. Tamai's down with a broken leg. Luke's obviously coming back from the ACL. So it's just him now. He's got to go out there. He's got to do a job. He can feel comfortable in his role right now that nothing's really going to happen to him. And hopefully we get to see the best out of Tanner Boyd to start the season.
Yeah, I think what I want to see out of Tanner is how he used to come here to Mount Smart with the Titans and somehow beat us every single time.
Mm,
And he just like I don't know what he did. I don't know how he did it, but he was just able to dominate kicking. He was able to, put his guys where he needed them, and he was able to lead the team around. And I think with a full preseason, knowing that this year he's starting at 7, we're going to
mm,
see how he uses his forwards. We're going to see how, Fish, Jacko, Kurt, Jacob, like how Aaron, how he uses them, how he moves them into positions, how he calls the team out. And I mean, even when we see when we see Wade directing the team around, that's off the back of what Tanner's talking about. Yes,
Mhm.
like Wade's going to see things that Tanner doesn't see, and Tanner's going to see things that Wade doesn't see. And I think that's important that they've had that whole preseason to work together on that. And I'm excited to see what Tanner can do. I'm excited because he, has a great kicking game. He can lead a team around, but we need something in the 20. I think that's our biggest problem is we can get from our end to the 20 just like that. It can take us four tackles. We Wade Egan is a master. We can force teams into submission. We can kick and kick and kick and get further and further back. But then we get into the 20 and there's just not a lot going on. And that's where I hope Tanner has some influence. He's got to figure out a way that they've had a whole preseason now to work on what is the best way to get us through, in the 20, get us over the line, get us into the goal, get us points on the board, because that's our main thing, right? That's what we need
Yeah.
to do every week, and that starts with Tanner.
Yeah, and he's got a clear role is win as many games as you can. Luke comes back and then there's a discussion, whatever's going to happen there. But win as many games as you can till we get to Luke, and then we can either say, hey, maybe Luke can make a rest or something like that, or Luke needs to come back in, and then we can really hit our strides and we can see how the season plans out for us. Because I think when you look at the Warriors season, it really does hinge on how this early start happens and how we go early rounds till when we get all our cards back on deck, and then we can reassess and see how far we can really push the season out. Because obviously we got high hopes when Mitch comes back and how the club's really coming together around Mitch to hopefully send him off in high hopes. But that all only comes from how good we start the season. And it really does, not to say it hinges on Tanner Boyd, but Tanner Boyd will be a big key part to this, is how he plays in that 7 jersey, how he gets the boys around the park. And we're saying that we may as well touch on the boys that are going to be helping him, as you said, getting him around the park and giving him a good platform to do what he can do. We've got a lot of good players here in this forward line, bro. But first of all, I want to talk about the conductor in the middle. Probably our most important player to me in the
Yep.
Warriors right now, and that is Wade Egan. You touched on him a little bit in this one. We spoke about if Tanner can get the boys around the park, get him here, and here. It all comes off the back of Wade Egan. If Wade Egan can get everyone going, get everyone on the front foot, which he does so well, and he can stay healthy week in, week out. We got our boy Sam Healy just waiting there on the bench as well to have a really beautiful rotation there with him. But this guy is the key to our attack to start the season. We know how well he sums up situations. He singles out halves, especially when we're going over against Sammy Walker playing on the left hand side. When we're running guys like Jacob Laban, that beautiful pass that Wade Egan likes to get out of the ruck, that overs line he likes to hit on those small halfbacks. Sammy Walker's going to see a lot of Jacob Laban in this game. He's going to see a lot of Jackson Ford in this game, very similar to what happened with the Dolphins in the trial.
Mm.
I think that's the key part of Wade Egan's game, and that's what we need out of him early in the season. But your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Wade Egan is your favorite hooker's favorite hooker.
Yeah.
I mean, Harry Grant talks about watching Wade Egan, and Harry
Yep.
Grant is the best hooker in the game.
Yep.
But he talks to his deception, talks to how he gets the boys out of the ruck, how he gets them, on the front foot. And I remember that because I think he came over in 2020, I want to say.
Yep.
And I remember when we're in the depths of, the depths of the depths, looking
Mm-hmm.
no way out. But I remember watching Wade Egan and getting frustrated because he was just standing, and he'd stand with his hands on his thighs, like clenching kind of the bottom of his shorts. And you go, oh, just do something. But it's because he didn't have the cattle, the
Mm.
forward pack, which again we'll talk about very soon. He didn't have the forward pack to get on the front foot to where he could get up, give the ball, and get more front foot footy. What we're seeing now is, these incredible towers that we have
Yep.
running hard, getting on elbows and knees, getting up, playing the ball quickly, and letting Wade do his thing. Letting Wade catch markers, letting Wade, again, like you said, put one on one against the halves. Um, it's gonna be an interesting season to see, especially when we get Mitch Barnett back, to see
Yep.
how much like grunt we have and what Wade Egan can play with, and if we can just again, everything hinges on people staying healthy. But Wade Egan is so important to our team, and people look at Sam Healy and they go, "Oh, we should start Sam Healy over Wade Egan." Wade Egan does nothing. The
Mm,
Warriors would do nothing without Wade Egan.
100%. 100%, brother. 100%. And like, for him, as you said, for him to do his job is really key for these boys, other boys to really stand up for him in the middle and really get quick playable speed and for him to really make things happen. And with that, James Fisher-Harris starting off the season, our captain, captain, he's coming back, bro. Captain is knock. I'm gonna love to see him out there. We know what he brings to a football side, especially with his leadership in the field, but his defensive, tenacity. He speaks about it in his interviews as well. I'm loving all the documentary stuff that we're doing in the off season. We've done it year in year out, but this year was just so cool to listen to Fish talk and the parts of the game that he loves. Like he just wants to be a team that is a bunch of dogs that are going out there and just absolutely slaying people. The guy that's pairing up with him to start off the season here is Jackson Ford until Mitch Barnett comes back. What are your thoughts on that front row pairing to start off the season? We know what Fish is going to bring. Jacko, I wouldn't say is more of the wild card because we know what Jacko is going to bring. He's a guy that can bring high meters, high work rate. Maybe he'll have an error or so in him. He'll have a penalty in him maybe here and there as well. But you can't question this man's work rate and his effort in the middle. How do you feel about that first front row pairing that we got to start the season, bro, and how everyone else can fall in the line out the back of that?
I've been really impressed with Jacko Ford kind of towards
Mm,
the end of last year and the trials this year. I think what we'll see this weekend, especially out of those two, is I wouldn't expect Fish to play more than 45, 50 minutes.
yep.
He's not a, you know, 60, 70-minute prop. That's not his role. And when Barnett comes back, that'll be his role.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, when he gets the minutes up and everything going, Jacko Ford will probably be out there 65, 70 minutes.
Yep.
And he is someone that we can rely on to do that and to continue, like continual effort, just effort on effort on effort on effort. And yes, he may give away a six again. Yes, he may give away a penalty. He may drop the ball once or twice, but he is getting that out of his game. I remember in 2023,
Mm-hmm.
when Luke would run to the line and he would have a short ball to Jacko or out the back, and every time just screaming, "Please don't pass it to Jackson Ford," because he would hit the line so hard. And it
Yep.
would be as soon as he catches the ball because he runs so hard. He's got such a strong, like he was exactly what you wanted. We just
Yep.
needed him to catch the ball, and
Yep.
now him moving more into the middle instead of on the on the edge, we'll see him be able to have a couple of seconds, or a second more, catch the ball, protect and go. All in the one motion, of course, because Jacko is incredible, but he will continually do that, and he will rack up meters, he'll rack up tackles, and he will be someone where the boys are tired and they can look to Jacko and be like, he's been out here for longer than I have, he's been grinding harder than I have. If he
Mm,
can do it, I can, you know,
yep.
and he's
Yep.
going to be like a lead by example. Same as Fish. Fish is also a
Yep.
lead by example, but he's going to be out there for more impact. We're going to see him running harder um, than we do see Jacko, and Jacko still runs hard, so it's scary either way. But um, like Fish is just, yeah, he's a real important part, but he's like, I think there's going to be some frustration from fans who don't understand that James Fisher Harris will only play 45, 50 minutes.
Yep.
And that's just the way he's structured. That's the way we'll get the best out of him.
100%. He brings a lot in that time period that goes to the untrained eye in a sense. He gets out there. The most important parts of football, especially in defense that win games, he does that at A+ level week
Mm.
in, week out. He's hunting from the inside. He's putting pressure on those halves to play earlier instead of digging into the line, creating the space outside of the outside men. And I love that he's brought that to the club to where, we were doing that before, but it feels like there is an upper level to that as well. Seeing Dimitrik and that come onto the field and seeing them do that to the highest of levels as well. And I feel like that's what Fish has brought to the club. So that's what we got to love from Fish. But with Jackson, as I said before, he's a guy that I think like the middle is suited to him in the sense of like you just take him off the leash and he just goes. He's gonna run. He's gonna chase his tail. He's like a big Labrador. He's gonna run around. He's gonna chase his tail a little bit. You know, he does it with a smile as well. He looks like sometimes he might be puffed out, but next minute he just does something and he continues to break the line open. He'll run for about 180 odd meters. You know, there was a period that season he was doing terrible May numbers and people weren't really
Mm.
acknowledging it. I feel like he could be definitely a good little play this year. My big question for you is, we got Taine Tuaupiki sitting on the bench as well. When Mitch Barnett comes back, who are you more likely to want to carry on the bench? Like, there may be still even a spot for Tanner if we drop out a Morgan Gannon off the bench, right? But let's say we didn't have the Morgan, like that 6 man on that bench. Jackson Ford, he falls to the bench, and then Tanner falls to New South Wales Cup, or would you go vice versa? How are you feeling with that sort of role there? You think that Tanner probably offers more as a shorter minute role, or do you want Jacko just to run out there and do his job week in, week out?
Oh, that that's an unfair question. That is not fair at all. Hey, let's change the rules from the season. Let's go back to last season. What would you do? I think in the interim when Mitch is back,
Yep.
would like to see Jacko retained.
Yep.
Kind of as that main forward. I mean, especially with the 6 man, I think he will definitely be on the bench just because he can play middle and edge if needed, or Barnett
Agree.
can switch out to an edge if needed. Um, but I think if we had a 4 man, I would start with Jacko.
Yep.
Um, and when Barney's kind of up to those big minutes that he's meant to be up to, maybe we can go with the punch of Tanner. Um, but what I'm excited about now with the 6 man bench, and we were talking early in the preseason before Tamati got hurt, of
Mm-hmm.
hey, we're going to run 3 and 3. It's going to be 3 forwards and 3 backs, with Sam Healy being one of the ones we considered as a back because he's small and fast, and that's what hookers are backs. Let's be real, hookers are backs.
Hey,
We're calling it now.
yeah.
But so now we're running 4 and 2, and we get to see the likes of Tanner get retained on the bench,
Yep.
or a Morgan Gannon on the bench. We get to see this weekend, and if the situation calls for it, we will see that switch. But I like that we'll be able to pick and choose. Like if Barney's going well and he's back to exactly where he needs to be, he's full, he's ready. We'll probably see Tanner get used more on the bench than we would Jacko. I think Jacko is just such a safe option we can use every week, and I think
Mm.
we'll end up maybe even running both of them and having, say, Sam Healy miss out for a week, um,
Mm.
and having both of them in the game at points because it makes more sense. So that's where my head's at. Are you kind of in a similar boat, in a different boat?
I'm thinking that, like, I think Tanner's going to be with us for long term. So for me, it's like just these young boys are going to continue to grow. Like when they drop back to Cup, I'm like, we know what Tanner's going to bring in Cup. He's going to absolutely dominate. I think that Jackson's a guy that I would like to keep on there because he's got the added ability to go edge, as you said, go in the middle. He's a guy that if there's any injuries, you can chuck him out there. He'll bust out 60 minutes. So you're not
Mm,
having to worry about two interchanges for a player. We've seen Tanner at moments, we saw it in the trials where we went down to 10 men and, he caught a little bit of fitness. It happens. It just is what it is. But Jackson, he's got the ability to punch out 60, and then we don't have to worry about that, that double interchange. Be like, all right, Tanner's now busted out because he's had to go fill the spot
mm,
in. We got to switch him out again for another bloke to come on. We could just chuck out Jackson out there, and that's one big sub ready to go. So I think that for me, the pecking order, not to say that Tanner's not as good as Jackson. I think that Jackson just has this ability to go for longer minutes, and I would like to keep that on the bench for a longer period of time and have Tanner go back to Cup and just dominate through Cup. Because my next question, right, when we go to these edge back roles and that, obviously we see no Maratani Kude just yet. We got to fit Maratani Kude in there somewhere. We have to. Like he's good enough player. He's a first grader. I know a lot of people talk a little bit about him, this and that, right? Jacob Laban's obviously got the starting spot for now. There's obviously the chance that Jacob might lose it next week if Murata comes back. But let's say he holds on to that spot and Murata gets back on the bench. What do we look like? Like, who's dropping back to Cup? Like, we're already looking at pushing out Tanner Smith and Morgan Gannon if that happens. Is that probably the way we're going to look at it? We're going to have to drop Tanner down to that 20th man,
yeah.
and then we're going to have to chuck Murata in Corday there?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, say Murata comes back and Mitch comes back next week. They're both back for round 2. I
Oh,
think what we see is Jacko go to that, number 17, 16, whatever.
Yep.
Numbers somehow make a difference on the bench somehow. I don't know. Like, I'd rather see Liquor wearing the 17, but that's just me. That's just how my brain works.
Yep.
But I think what we'd see then is Jacko, in the 17, and
Mm-hmm.
probably even. I mean, and that's tough because you go Jacob Laban probably at the
He
20.
might drop down into a bench role. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
and then
depends on how
Marata back
Webby.
in.
Yeah, it depends on how much of the jump Laban's made. Like, is Laban going to be, bang, you're the starting edge back row now, brother? Because we look at maybe Marata as more of a middle rotational piece, as an edge back row rotational. Because we got Lecker sitting there on the bench as well. You know, Tanner, if he was to drop out of the side there and drop back to Carp, you got Jacko that can fill in the middle. Dimitri fills in the middle and can play edge. Like, there's just so many different ways that Webby can really make this happen. I feel like that's where we're one of the more interesting teams when it comes to the 6-man bench, especially when we've got a full deck of cards. And that's sort of a discussion I'm thinking about, especially for Supercoach fans out there that are going to jump all over Jacob Laban, which I have already as well. 299K,
Captain.
you can't really go
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah, captains for sure, nah. But, you know, when Marasa Niukore does come back, and obviously Mitch Barnett comes back, this forward pack goes from James Fisher-Harris, Mitch Barnett, probably Marasa Niukore maybe comes back in there, Jacob Laban. Then that bench is going to be one of the boys of Tennisdale Smith or Morgan Gannon. They're going to fall out of the side. Probably Morgan Gannon. And maybe even Tanner as well.
Yeah, I'd expect them both to be down in cup, and that's nothing on them because I know like Tanner has had a stellar preseason. He's probably our man of the trials. Morgan, I think, is showing a lot of promise.
Yep.
And someone that will be able to depend upon next year, the year after, as a full-time first grader.
Yep.
And I think that's the part where, like you said, with Tanner being there for more and more reps and for more years, whereas we've got Jacko Ford. I think his contract may have one more year on it after this. I don't know if he got an extension because he came in 23. I think he was signed 23, 24, 25.
I'll quickly
And then he
check that while you
extended.
continue. Yep.
So, and contracts mean nothing in terms of what the best team is out there. However, Jacko Ford has the experience over Tanner. He has the experience over Morgan Gannon. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see.
So the end of 2027, his
What the
contract comes off Jackson Ford. You good? What just happened? You still there, bro? You still there? Hello?
Bro,
You good?
are you kicking me out? What are you doing? What's
I didn't do
doing?
anything. No, you're still in mine.
Bro.
You're still in here. What happened?
I don't know. Everything just went on my screen. It just all went. Was I talking?
Yeah, you're still talking.
Bro, everything, like my whole screen, it just came up with like just me, and that's fine. Like I'm fine with looking at myself, but like you left, and I thought you'd like left the whole stream, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm live or not. I was gonna quickly like pull up the YouTube stream on my other phone.
Bro, it's been such a weird night with technology, guys. We do apologize for it. I'm not too sure what's going on. Jackson Ford infected his PC. I think that might be it, Bailey. Yeah, he might. Yeah, that might exactly be the.
Jacko, I love you, bro. I was saying you'll be retained on the bench. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
But yeah, I think we have Tennisdale Smith, we have Morgan Gannon here for the long run, and both of those are going to be huge players for us in the coming years. And I think we see these older guys. No, you can't pull up a comment while I'm talking. That was rude because that comment was funny as well, and I stopped to read that.
Do you know what's crazy though? Like before you continue going on, shout out to where is it, Jose? Yeah, Josh is having a great show. I might say one mean thing about him before we go. So yeah, that's waiting to come later on too, mate. So this form is crazy.
I've been thinking about my lips for the last like 3 weeks. Whenever he said that 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, I've been thinking about my lips. I don't know what that means about soft lips. I'm so confused.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of thinking to do about that comment, Jose. He knows what he's talking about, mate. It's only he knows.
Can we take a moment for the chat? Like, I can't see what's going on right? I can't see the chat. And so I'm going back through after watching the stream over again to see the funny chats. And then I'm going, man, Ash didn't show me this. This is sad. He's just pulled up a chat while I was talking. That was hilarious from T Mackie. Thank you, bro. But so I've gone, I've now read it while I'm trying to talk, and everything from my brain is just gone. I was talking about Jacko Ford, talking about Taine Tuaupiki being here forever. But can we be nice in the chat, please?
Well, I want to take
things.
I do want to take this moment to say, hey, like we really appreciate Joshy coming on. Like, as he said, like he doesn't have the chat on. He's streaming from his phone, guys. He's doing all he can to jump on for week in, week out, guys. So we want to give a massive appreciation to Joshy coming onto the stream as well. Honestly, like I want to take the time out just to say that while you're saying all these things. Again, Joshy's doing this without bouncing off chat right now. I can see everything you guys say though, so you can say the meanest things in the world. So continue, Josh.
No, because I see you laughing at the chat while I'm talking as well, which is, it makes me laugh. Anyways, back on track. Let's go. I foresee after this year, because I think we'll most likely see a couple of levers this year. If I'm being honest, I know that Perth are heavily going after Murata. Whether or not he goes, I mean that'll be an option for him. And we will still be an option for him, of course. And then Kurt is on the last year of his deal. Mitch is already going. Did you find out when Jacko was leaving, or is he infecting my PC too much?
No. He infected your PC too much. Nah. 2027, I think, is the end of his contract. So he's one of those contract boys as well. But I would say that he probably finds a way. I will triple check that, because that's what Google AI said to me just before. But then I just jumped at you going like, oh my God, what is happening? And I was like, what is happening right now? Tonight's stream, like the technology's been crazy. Like, shout out YouTube, please help us.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I was the only one up on that screen. And so I was like, I don't know if I'm on air by myself and you've left and now I have to carry the conversation. But
it is end of 2027, bro. Yeah, cool. End of 2027. Sweet. So yeah.
But so November 1, if Jacko has a huge year, we're into a fight to keep him. And I think we'll see the emergence of Taine Tuaupiki, of Eddie Edemia Toiava, someone we haven't even talked about tonight, but he's hanging on the edge of that bench there.
Kalis Fatialofa is waiting.
Kalis, Morgan Gannon, you know, these guys. And I was prepared this year to say Jacob Laban, like, hopefully we see him next year. I'm hoping he retains the starting spot this year. I mean, he is he's someone that coming through school system, I think he won Player of the Year 2 times in a row, and I'm pretty sure he played for Kelston, which is a school out in West Auckland. He was at the national championships, and I think he won maybe one of those with that team. So Jacob Laban has always been like, there's been so many raps on him throughout his high school and his early years in professional footy as well. So I'm very, very excited to see how he runs with the 12, and say Murata maybe has had a hiccup, because I don't know anything about the inner workings of the team. Maybe they've taken him off the list because he's had a little flare up and it's going to take 2-3 weeks. And Jacob Laban has a fantastic first 2-3 rounds. Suddenly Murata doesn't come straight back into the starting side. If Jacko Ford plays well, if Taine Tuaupiki plays well, like we could be looking at some issues here.
It's like, it's such a good thing though. Like, as I said, we're saying all these names out loud. We're saying all the potential of all these guys, right? And the amount of like comments I've seen in comment sections in the off season of like, Lekka's got to get a starting spot for the Warriors. He has to get the starting spot for the Warriors this year. And I'm like, why are we got to rush this? Like, Lekka's not going to go anywhere for me. Like, Lekka, I know he's got incredible potential and teams are willing to pay as much money as what they want for him. But I know Lekka, come through the grades. He's still so young. There's still so much learning to go with him, even though he's such an incredible prospect that we have. You're still talking about, like, he's got to jump players that, like, when people say this, it's like that they say Murata Niakura is a bum. Like, Murata Niakura is he's a great player. He's a very good player. Kurt Capewell is a state of origin international type player. You got Jacob Laban that's right there fighting with him. You got Jackson Fords of the world. Like, there's so many players. We're in that real funny zone at the moment where we've got a lot of guys that are playing to their potential and they're very good experience pieces, and then we've got just these young kids that are pushing for the bit. We don't need to rush it, and I think we're in such a good position now. We just spoke about it before. When we get a full deck of cards, unfortunately, it may go back to Muratani Koda gets a start and Mitch Barnett gets a start, but we're still going to have Jacob Laban there. We're still going to see a lot of him. We're still going to see Leckers. They're going to get good minutes. They're going to really push these boys and maybe even push Murata to a bench role in that, and we should be happy with that. Like, we're in such a good vibe right now to where Webby has the control to do whatever he wants with the side. And it just shows the ability of when we got it again, when we get a full deck of cards. I love saying that for some reason. We are going to be
And
really
can of
competitive,
beans.
especially with that forward back for sure. Yeah, shout out to the can of beans as well. All right, quickly, we'll jump over. We spoke about the edge back rollers just a tad. Kurt Capewell, we know what Kurt Capewell is going to bring. Shout out to Curdy. Good to see him back out there again. Aaron Clark holding down that 13 jersey. We love to see that. Honestly, we've seen how good he has been. Hopefully, he continues to upgrade from that. Let's move to the bench. So the six-man bench that we have chosen to start the year, we got Sam Healy, gun. I love that pick. Obviously, the rotational piece with Wade Egan. This is what Warriors fans have been waiting for, is what we're really excited to see. So very, very excited to see how he can break a game open. Then add it with a bit of flair of Dimitri Vaimonga and Lek Alasima, where those boys can break a game open from the middle. You know, Dimitri does all of the 1%ers as well that a lot of people don't usually see. You know, when Leka was having his boom season, and again, this comes from a guy, I love Leka to death. Like, I've been watching Leka for such a long period of time. But Dimitri's season went so under wraps last year of how good he progressed through his career as well so far. Like, and then add that with the Tennessee Smith that's upgraded himself from, you know, what he was a couple of years ago where he was struggling with fitness issues. This season, he looks good to go, fresh and ready to go. He's taken another level. Add that with Taine Tuaupiki. He's got an option now where we can put Taine in there and break a game open if it is getting really tight later on. He doesn't have to put on one of the bigger boys. He can just chuck Taine out there and do a job. And then finishing off with Morgan Gannon that can play many different roles. What are you feeling with the bench, bro? Who are you most excited to see coming into this game this season? And who do you think is going to be the game changer that was sitting on this bench right now? Because I see a couple of big ones, and this is the whole thing with the Warriors is like, I think there's game breakers right there that a lot of people are probably not looking into as much because they're like looking as like, let's get Lofi, all that sort of stuff. Like Sam Healy can break a game open. Leka can break a game open. Taine can break a game open. We got them all there on the bench and when they're waiting to go like weapons where we can just pull whichever one he wants at a moment of time.
That bench there, Taine's definitely the oldest. He's 26 or something like that.
Yep.
Morgan's probably what, like 20, 21.
I think he's 21 from memory.
Tanner, 21. Leka, 20. Demi,
Yep.
20. Sam Healy, 21, 22.
Yep.
Like, what,
22
like,
for Morgan Gannon too, by the way.
yeah. So the average age of our bench is 22.
Yep.
Like, that is absolutely insane. That's like when you are like 5 seasons deep in like FIFA, you know, or, you know, Rugby League 26, and you're just getting all these young guns coming through that you're like, oh, I have no, you know, like I've developed them so well that I just need to put them on the bench. These guys are going to be our starters in 3-4 years. They're going to be the ones that we go, oh man, do you remember like 4 years ago, round one, when all of these guys were on the bench together and they all broke open the game? You know, like, and like you said, they are game breakers. Sam Healy is incredible. He is like, again, he's not Wade Egan, but that's not his player comparison. That's not someone who I'd go, oh, Wade and Sam are very alike. However, Wade is teaching Sam all of these things. He's getting better with his distribution. He's getting better, you know, listening to his halves, getting his halves good ball. But he's also fantastic at jumping out and creating something out of nothing, getting on the front foot, running out a dummy half. Dimitri, I look back to that Sharks game last year where we absolutely pumped them 40-10. The ball playing he has, the way he goes about the game, he is like, when Mitch Barnett said, hey, I've got to go home, like I can't stay on here. Immediately after crying in the bathroom for 5 minutes, it was Dimitri, this is your time. This is your moment.
Yeah.
And he's someone that will lead this club. He's someone that will be, you know, we'll look at as, you know, a club captain who has done it all. He's, I wouldn't be surprised if down the track he's leading us to title after title.
Mm-hmm.
Liquor, if you want some rage bait, if you want to get angry, go into the team list comments and look at all the comments that say start Liquor,
Yep.
because people don't understand Liquor's value.
Yep.
Yes, they see him and they go, man, Liquor is fantastic. Start
Mm-hmm.
him, play him 80 minutes. But that's not his value. His value isn't long range, going for the whole 80 minutes. He's not a Bill Kickow this year.
No.
He's not a Jacob Preston this year. He's a Viliami Kickow when he was at the Panthers and playing 40, 45, 50 minutes and absolutely breaking a game open.
Yep.
He's someone that we can put on at 30 minutes, we can put him on at 50 minutes, and he will do exactly the same job for
Mm-hmm.
however long he's on the field, and it will be a scary sight for the other team.
Yep.
Now, for him, it's hard because he plays so well for those bursts, and we see the incredible moments out of him. I mean, we've seen like what he scored like 10 tries last year, something like that, and
Yep.
all of them were incredible. Like not
Yep.
one of them was just like, or maybe the Broncos one where he just kind of like got through the gap and crashed over the line. That was kind of like there, but every other one was like,
That footwork he used to get through that
yeah,
though.
true, yeah, yeah. But every other one, like he's jumping above to catch a ball. He's running down the sideline, shushing the Tigers fans. He's getting past 19 different Knights players to score on on the buzzer, like in right at the end of the game to win us
Mm-hmm.
the game. Like that is Liquor, but
Yep.
Liquor isn't a hey, let's grind for 80 minutes. That's not his style, and I don't think
Not
that will
yet.
ever be his style.
No.
And so we have these guys on the bench, and those are the three that I think, or I think we'll use the first four on the bench.
Yep.
I think that's how this weekend will play out. And I
Yep.
think Sam Healy will be the one that we hold the longest. He'll probably come on with 20 minutes, 15 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and will be someone that will just kickstart the game if we need it.
Agreed.
Unless there's an injury. Again, knock on wood, that won't happen.
Yep.
But unless there's an injury, then we'll see Sam
Dang.
Healy come on with 15 minutes, and we'll see Tanner Smith, Liquor, and Dimitrik all playing the minutes that they've earned over the preseason.
100%.
Tanner was amazing. He's a cannonball, and I'm excited to see him run out for 15, 20, 25 minutes because he
Yep.
plays those minutes so hard and so well. Taine Tuaupiki again could be our starting fullback, and I probably would have again preferred that at the start of preseason. Taine Tuaupiki to be our fullback. I still love Taine. I think he's a dog. I think he's
He's
one
a
of the
dog.
ones that will we. I hope we keep him for the rest of his career. And like you said, when Jeremiah Lamana or Joseph Ratcliffe or Brendan Norris are ready,
Mm-hmm.
then there's Taine will rise to another level because that's who Taine is, and we've
Yep.
seen him play fullback for us and be amazing. And somehow with that, like when he's got a 2-on-1, he's running away from them, and suddenly he's able to make that tackle, as he's running backwards because he forces them into a decision that they didn't want to make. And
Mm.
like on the defensive end when they're broken through the line, and when he gets ball in the 20, he's someone who will again improve our attack and someone who can switch to both sides and still do exactly the same thing.
Yep.
Morgan Gannon, I don't actually know. I saw him play in both the trials, thought he was very solid, and I'm excited to watch him. It seems like we played him mostly on the edge and then through the middle a little bit. So
Yep.
for me, he's there. I don't even like. It's hard because I guess it's if someone maybe like a head knock
Yep.
with Sinbin where you can activate the other like the next person as well. That's the only real way I can see him getting in because of how good Dimitrik is, how good Liquor is, how good Tanner is.
Yeah, there's still obviously the opportunity for our reserves here, like Loffy to get a spot there, Hansen to get a spot there, Eddie. Obviously, Eddie and Hansen have been named in the cup side, so that maybe even gives an opportunity for Loffy to get into the side, into reserves, and drop Morgan Gannon back for more of like I'm guessing like a backline cover in a sense. So, like, but then Taine does a lot of that as well. So,
Mm.
like, there is like a thought of like, yeah, Gannon's just a guy, it's just a Mr. Cover if it ever gets to that point. Like
Yeah.
Taine's going to be the big one that unlocks whatever we see from whatever's going to go on. I think Taine's the one that's going to be more of the, if there's an injury, Taine comes in, he's going to fill a role. Where, you know, we've covered majority of our places here with our forward pack and our hooker. So it's interesting to see how Webby will play it. Again, it could come down. Yeah, Loffy might get the spot here and we might see it if, like, obviously, you know, Roger's coming back off a hamstring injury. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of that to it as well. So, you know, you never know. As it's being in a shout out to Reese, you know, to be fair, Webby loves a late change. So who knows? 100%. Webby likes to keep his cards close to his chest. So there could still be a change here that we don't know about.
You know what I think is the worst part about the 6-man bench
What's that?
is that all the reserve grade gets played before.
Yeah.
Like it gets played earlier in the weekend than that. It shouldn't be it shouldn't be like that. I get that they want to put them on. Like I'm excited to go watch the reserve grade play at, I think it's 5:15 here on Friday down at Mount Smart. Like I'm excited to go watch that. That's something I'm intrigued by. However, I would rather them play on the Saturday and go down to Trust Stadium, go down to Bruce Pullman, you know, around somewhere in Auckland, even back to Mount Smart, and watch these guys play and get whoever doesn't play from the bench to get some minutes that week. I think that's a real oversight from the NRL this year.
Yeah, 100%. It's weird how it's going to make it work because, you know, I agree. Like, it'd be cool to see if Cup could play after. So if any of these guys don't get game time, they can get game time in Cup and make up for that over time as well. But the way I kind of look at it too is like, you know, when you look at professional sports around the world, you know, basketball carries the amount of players they carry on the bench, and there's the odd couple that don't play a game for a lot of the season, but they still train with the squad. I know rugby league's a little bit different. You want to be playing football as much as you can, but soccer's very similar. You know, football's very similar to where they carry that many squad players that aren't able to play for long periods of time. Like you look at Arsenal this year, you know, Norgard, we've barely seen Nordgaard this year. He's been waiting for a lot of people. Hey, when are we going to bring him in? Like he's sitting on the bench, you know. It's going to be very similar to that, I feel. Like where, you know, unfortunately there's going to be players that are going to be missing a couple of weeks there of playing football, but they're obviously hopefully going to get their fitness from playing in training and getting those reps in. But I do agree with you. If there's schedule, that would probably help this whole idea to work really well. I think we're one of those teams, though, that when I'm looking at it, again, the more we talk about it, when we do find injuries, like Taine's like the ultimate cover to push chance somewhere, and then we can make that work, you know what I mean? But Gannon's just a guy that I just, like, I feel like we got so many other cover here for that position that it could be just we can sit Loffy there, but I'd love to see Loffy get game time and continue to develop under our system as well. So it's really to throw up in the air and see what Webby has done. And like, you know, Webby's such a smart coach. I know that he will be able to figure things out, and he's very good at getting these things right. But you have to wait and see. Wait and see how it plays out.
Yeah, we turned into all you can eat Arsenal there for a second.
You love it.
Hey, I'm happy. I don't. Mind. Let's talk Arsenal.
Up the Gunners, baby. Up the Gunners. We're going to take it out of the season. Nah, just kidding. Just quickly, bro, before we jump over the New South Wales Cup and that, we'll quickly just gloss over the Roosters coming up this weekend, right? Really tough matchup. The one thing I would say about this game, because it is going to be a very tough game, and more than likely, I think a lot of people would say, yeah, the Roosters will more likely get over the top of us, you know, early part of the season. We haven't got a full deck of cards just yet. But shout to Jose, pause in the chat. The Roosters, right? If there's any time to play the Roosters, it's to start the season, I believe. You know, they're still got to work their combinations. Obviously, we know Semi Walker and Daly Cherry Evans coming together. And I actually did enjoy their combination in the trials. But if there's any time to play the Roosters, it's early season. Yep. It's early season. While they're trying to figure things out, there's going to be, you know, cracks that crumble. Like, let's say it goes into a game of, like, you know, it's going to be 14-12. You know, we've had Roosters games that are very, very close lately in that, you know, and it's a couple of points down or a point down. You know, is it going to be a little bit clunky between the two? Who's going to take over the game? We've obviously seen it Sammy Walker's team in the trials, but what happens in a real rugby league game? What happens when, you know, the stakes get really high? I think that's the biggest thing with the Roosters. They got a crazy team, bro. Like, look at their team list on the top. Like, you know, James Tedesco's of the world. You know, Nwangani Tuasa's, Daniel Tupou's, you know, Daly Cherry Evans. Their forward packs, nothing to scoff at. Angus Crichton's of the world. But again, I go back to, if there's any times to play the Roosters, It's to start the season before they start getting rolling. Once they start getting rolling towards finals, they're going to be a lot harder to beat.
Yeah, definitely. I think. I mean, the best time to play the halves combination of Cherry Evans and Sam Walker is when they've had half a trial together.
Yeah,
Like I wouldn't want to come up against them in round 27 and our season hinges, on winning that game.
agreed.
I would rather, face them now, get it over and done with. And we've had some successes against the Roosters early season.
Yep,
Last year we won
a
three
close one.
tries to one, something like that,
Yep.
three tries to two, something like that. Um, Obviously the year before we didn't play them early season, but 2023 we had a
Hmm.
good game over there and at Allianz.
Yep.
When it
One Martin broke his
and
leg. Hmm.
that's a tough one.
Yep.
Yeah, but we
Savage.
still played well.
We
Yeah,
did play well. We
yeah.
did.
And then I mean, who can forget Bloomin' 2018?
Oh,
Mason Lino.
good old Mace. Shout out to
Uh,
Mace. Wake.
that was I still watch the highlights of that game. That was beautiful. But yeah, so we've had some successes playing against the Roosters early season, and so um, like let's hope that continues. I mean, going to Mount Smart for your first game of the season, Friday night
Mm,
under lights like that. It's tough. It's very very tough. Full house, sold out. I'll be there.
yep.
I'll be making some noise. Shout out to my mate Ethan. Him and I bought memberships together this year, so we'll be jumping on that together. And if you're around Bay 29, come and say hello. If you're going to the game, because yeah, it's in between the games is long. Like I'll be there for the cup game if you want to come sit with me. Um, but then you'll probably get kicked out because the members are coming back. But yeah, it's
Sounds like a Hinge profile, but let's come sit with me in the game. I like long games, like long walks on the beach. You know what I mean? Craziness.
no hinge for me, no hinge for me. Just Warriors games.
He's a lockdown man.
Like life is hinging on the Warriors.
Oh, stop it.
But I mean, yeah. So I'm excited for this season. I'm excited to see how we play. I'm worried about Friday night, if I'm being completely honest,
Yep,
because like it's a tough game. Like the
it is.
Roosters are so tough to come up against. But I mean, again, like you said, if there's any time to play them, it's now.
Exactly.
And I'd rather play them at home on a Friday night with majority of our players back than in round 25 at Allianz.
Yeah, 100%, bro. And you already know what's coming, bro. Before we jump off quickly, we'll touch on New South Wales Cup and all that sort of stuff before we go. But give us a score prediction. What do you think is going to happen with this game, personally, yourself? If you make it easier, I'll go first.
Yeah.
I'm going to back the boys in. First game of the season, I'm backing the boys in. We're going to go all the way in here. Again, very, very tough game. More than likely, the Roosters, more times than not, should be able to get the win here. If you're going off team list, you're going on team or paper, they are pretty much nearly full cards on deck, other than obviously missing out on Reece Robson, one of their big signings for this year, right? But full house, Mount Smart, rocking the start of the season. We get Fish to run the boys out there. The vibe's going to go really well. Again, I go back to, if we're going to catch the Roosters, I think to start the season while they're trying to figure out combinations, it's the time to do it. Is it going to be wet out there?
Nah. Meant to be dry.
Should be dry.
Hopefully
I know
cold,
that.
though.
All right,
Hopefully
Auckland
cold.
weather
It's been a
might
bit
be
cold
cold.
today.
Yeah, it'll be annoying. It'll be nice and annoying and cold over there in Auckland. I think we can get it done, bro. It's been close games for us and the Roosters lately. So I'm thinking of that 20-16 type of scoreline. I think it's going to be really, really close. I think it can get clunky in moments as well. First game of the season, I'm expecting that. But I think the battle in the middle is going to be really, really solid, and I'm gonna back our boys in the middle there, Fisher Harris and all that. I think he's going to put his flag in the ground and get this one done. So wishful thinking, up the Waz, baby, 20-16. What do you reckon?
Um, like you said, it's going to be a close one.
Yep.
I am going to throw it out there. It's going to be 16-12. That's going to be the
Yep.
score to us. We're going to win. I think that the way this game goes will define how we're going to play this season.
Yep.
And I think to jump back, when Mitch Barnett talked to the boys about, hey, I'm leaving, but let's make this year an incredible year, that has stirred something in that place.
Yep.
That room, that training ground, that dressing room, that gym, that field, the boys are together. And it's like they have one common goal. They have, yeah, exactly. The eye black is on. They are,
I'm tearing up, bro.
10 toes down, bro. They are there, and they like this is going to be. I think our middle is going to shine this year, because I
Yep.
think all the boys, especially in that front room, in that engine room, they do not want to send Mitch Barnett out going, oh man, that wasn't what we wanted. Like, those
Mm.
boys respect Mitch Barnett so much
Yep.
that we are going to get to the point where it's like, holy hecker, where did this come from?
Yep.
Where did this come from? How have they, like, we've seen these boys play. We know how they play. They grind games out. They want to win dirty. They want to win ugly. But this year is going to be a different level. And I think the way the boys will show out for Mitch while he's not in the team is going to tell all on how we play this year. And if we do narrowly go down to the Roosters this weekend, there's no part of me that goes, oh yeah, the Roosters are going to smash us this weekend, or we're going to smash the Roosters this weekend. Nothing does not cross my line. I am, as much as I would love to see us win 40 points to nil, 50 points to nil against the Roosters, that's not happening.
No.
Again, I'm not going to touch wood because I want it to happen, but
We all pray.
the boys want so much to work hard for each other, to work hard for Mitch. And this
Mm-hmm.
season is going to be for Mitch, and then it could end up being for Murata, for Kurt. And there's going to be so much that goes on to the point where we go, this season is going to be the be all and end all of the beginning of the Warriors dynasty.
Let's pray, brother.
And so 16-12, starting this weekend.
We got it. We love it. We love it. We love it. All right, guys. So I got not so much time left, so let's quickly jump through. We'll go through the junior grades, and then we'll finish off with a little bit of New South Wales Cup chat. So, first of all, our Harold Bass team got over the Central Coast Roosters. Great performance there, 50-18, absolute dominant performance. Good to see the boys come together there. The halves partnership of Simpson and Butler, absolutely incredible. I thought they came together really, really well. And just off the back of that, Daniel Carley, Sio Carley's little brother, absolutely killer. Kyan Olsen playing some really good footy at the moment. And shout out to our boys in the middle, Big Kenny, Luffy Tuanai, and just absolutely killing it in the middle there. So great performance from those boys. And even Riley McGrath Huggins is a guy that I'm really watching a lot of at the moment. So shout out to those guys, absolutely killing it. And just quickly as well, I'll jump over to. Did you get to watch most of the games over the weekend? Not really.
I didn't get to watch them. I watched the highlights. Warrior Holic does so, like, I love
good.
his, yeah. He'll post all the tries on his story.
Yep.
And one thing I was noticing about both of the games as well is just like how well our outside backs played. And I know, like, when we get into the SG Ball now, we're going to be talking about Joseph Ratcliffe. We're going to be talking about Sukuvea. These guys that worked like that. They pounced on every opportunity they could get. I mean, Ratcliffe has been absolutely incredible this year.
Yeah.
And we talk about Jeremiah Lamana maybe have pipping him because last year he was in the Mats, and now he's looking like he's going to move up above Ratcliffe because he's not playing Mats anymore. He's not in SG Ball, so maybe he's moving into Flag Cup. Maybe he's been training with the first grade squad, and Ratcliffe is saying, or like Joseph Ratcliffe is saying, well, hang on, I'm still here, and I'm playing well, and all of our outside backs played incredible over the weekend.
Absolutely incredible, bro. 34-18 against the Central Coast Roosters as well. Shout out, Joseph Ratcliffe, bro. Absolutely burner to start the season. Like, defensively is where he first starts it all off, but then his attacking game plays off the back of it. And it's so great to see such a very, very good little talent that we have in the grades at the moment. I'm loving what he's doing. Shout out, obviously, the big notable names that we have here. Bishop Neal's a big one. We see week in, week out. he had one of his performances in this game. It was very, very good to see. Guys, if you haven't gone, check it out. Bar Sports, go check it out. He has the offload game that he's bringing to his game at the moment. It's just beautiful. He had this one moment. He pumped off about 3 players, one hanging off his hip. The winger tries to cover in. You see this ball just pop out to the sideline. Unfortunately, the winger wasn't able to finish on that play there, but it was just such a silky ball from such a big man. Another chip and chase that he puts into the game as well. Like, the guy is an absolute freak.
So crazy.
It's actually crazy, bro. Alexander Pua had a really good game as well. Shout out Alexander. He's definitely a talent to watch. And Mark Sikuvea, definitely, absolutely killing it at the moment. But shout out to those boys. They finally came together really, really well. I still think there's a couple of pieces to come back for that side. But it's just showing a little bit more of like, all right, we're starting to come together a little bit. Again, Central Coast Roosters have had a struggle start to the season, so it was a good confidence game for us. Yep. Hopefully we take the next step after that. But anything more you want to touch on that before we quickly go through the New South Wales Cup?
Captain Gordon was absolutely amazing. And he's someone that I'm excited to see his development and how he plays. But yeah, he was fantastic.
Incredible. And guys, make sure you check out the New Zealand Warriors versus the Sydney Roosters New South Wales Cup sides, guys. It's going to be an incredible game. We'll just quickly gloss over this, bro, because I've got to go very, very shortly. I'm so sorry. But Geronimo Doyle getting the starting role there in the fullback position. Motu Pasikala and Hazen Mellors there in the wings. That may change depending on Lofi Camperera, whatever happens with that over the weekend. We got Sio Kali and Putoko in there in the centers. Jet Cleary back off the injury as well. So good to see. He will be starting off our halves pairing with Luke Hansen over the weekend. Very excited to see that. And finishing off, obviously, guys, Rodney, Tuipulotu, Vea, Tafua. Just the names go on and on and on. Very, very excited to see how these boys go. Siku Vea getting that 13 jersey. No Jason Salalilo. He's carrying an injury at the moment. I think he'll be out for a little decent amount of time. But we've got guys like Tepa Laumalili there on the bench that is willing to step up for a role. We're very, very excited to see how he goes. And Jack Thompson getting the 14 jersey there. What are you watching out for in this game, bro? How excited you see these boys back in action? I know you love the Cup side.
Oh, yeah. Cup sides became my favourite a bit at points last year. Especially like after Luke went down, I think the Cup side really stood up without Tanner in them in there as well. But I don't know. Those outside backs look mean. They look nasty. And I mean, halves pairing that hasn't really failed us too much. Luke Hansen and Jet Cleary. I'm excited to see Rodney get a good run. Kalis and Eddie just causing havoc. And then Jack Thompson as well. Shout out. He's been great. And yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how we can build off of last year. This is a way less experienced team, but a team that I still expect will play at the highest of capacity. Like David Tungantator is just an incredible coach, and the boys have been around the team all year, the first grade team all year, so they know the expectation on them, and they know to push whoever's in front of them to the limit, so that that our first grade squad plays better. And there's no New South Wales Cup team better than the Warriors right now.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of boys to come back to this New South Wales Cup side, so it only gets better from this position. It's actually pretty inexperienced for a Cup side that we have at the moment. They're going up against a decent test here as well. A lot of good first grade talents. Obviously, Va'a there. Toby Rodwell, the Rodwell boys, both there. They're very, very talented guys. We know Tommy Talau. We know what Junior Tupou can bring as well, seeing them in the NRL. So, guys, make sure you go check out the New South Wales Cup game. The time that's on here is Australian Eastern Standard Time and Queensland time, so no daylight savings. Over in New Zealand, they'll be added 3 hours, so put that there.
5:15. Yep.
Beautiful. Awesome.
Down at Mount Smart, if you're there as well, get there early, support the boys.
Yeah, I said, you heard Josh's Hinge account before. He likes long games. He likes to sit there with someone else next to him. So, guys, if you want to go check it out and you want to see a beautiful man next year, go out to Mount Smart and swipe right on Hinge. Do you swipe right on Hinge? Do you swipe right on Hinge?
No.
How do you know?
No. I don't know. I haven't been on it. I thought you asked the buy-in.
Shout out. Josh is a good boy. We all know that. But appreciate you again, my bro. Appreciate you guys again for a massive show tonight. I know that there's been a couple of technical difficulties, but We do love you guys. You just continue to turn up for us, so we continue to turn up for you guys. Again, the big lift from Joshy as always. He's recording. If you ever see him, Joshy on Instagram, what's your Instagram too? Plug it quickly.
King Hill, 2 eyes and King.
You'll see his stories pop up, and he takes a photo of his phone and what he's working with at the moment. So we do appreciate that, because he's willing to tune in, week out, and help us with All You Can Eat Warriors. And quickly before we go, we just want a massive shout out to Levon. He's had such a big time period over that. Just a massive congratulations, guys, to Levon. 2 beautiful babies are coming to the world too. So we want a massive shout out. Just say that we love him and that. I don't know if, again, I probably should ask if it wants to be public knowledge, but this is the reason why he's had time, away from live streams and stuff, guys. I want you all to get around Levon. Again, guys, too, if you want to enjoy and support him the best way possible, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to do any extras, guys, feel free. No pushing you into it, but there is membership programs down below. Make sure you have a look, read around. If you enjoy what we're bringing to memberships, go check it out. But massive love to Levon. He's been such a big contributor for all of us here on Wise Up TV. He's the man, so big appreciated. But anything more before you go, bro?
Nah, bro. Shout out Levon. Keeping your seat warm, bro. I'll happily go back to the bench when you're ready.
Oh, mate, you're all good, bro. You're looking like a bit of Sam Healy about you. You know what I mean? A bit of, yeah. Look at you, just as good, bro. You're just as good.
You're looking like a cheerleader.
I think that's where we ended there. No, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much as always. Love yous all out there. Wise up, baby. Here we go. Start off round number 1, hopefully with a dub, baby. Let's go.